if you really had known what your values were, if you really understood how valuable you were, if you really understood what you really wanted out of life and the standards that you set for yourself, if you really had set those parameters, then you would not have accepted anything less. And that's something that I keep seeing every single time. When you set the standard, that is what is going to be reflected to you. That's what you're going to meet and therefore accept in your life. Anything that is not within your set limits, your own set standard, anything that is below that, it's not going to affect you. It's like it's not even going to be in your energy field. Once you set the standard, that's the standard you're going to accept. Anything else becomes like cars are just moving past. It does not mean that you have to jump in the car. It's like the cars are just moving around and then you are in your own lane until you finally meet your match. And when you finally meet your match, then you can allow the other person to hop in the ride. So far, if you don't set those standards for yourself and you don't set those boundaries for yourself, then you're just not going to experience, you're just going to keep experiencing things that let you see how much you should value yourself, how much you should set a higher standard for yourself. It's all about self-growth and self-development so that you can really choose and see that you are such a precious gem that deserves the very best. That is why all these experiences of pain, of heartbreak, of loss, these things are all supposed to happen to you because you refuse to look at all the goodness that resides within you that you deserve to receive. That's what I believe. Once I set the standards right and I set the standards for myself, then I accept nothing less than that standard. And therefore, I attract all that is within that particular boundary that I have set and even beyond it, because ideally, that is where you are always going. You're always going above and beyond based on the boundaries you keep choosing, based on that particular goal expectation that you have of yourself and of other people based upon what you deserve, what you deserve. So I keep seeing this more and more in my own life. All these experiences that I've had that have not really gone so well, for example, in my relationships or in my friendships, these are all supposed to show me how to be more open, how to be more attentive, how to be less critical, how to be a better communicator, how to be more compassionate, how to just be a more loving, kind individual. I think that's what this has all been teaching me, and how to value myself, value who I am, value the strength that I have, value, learn from my weaknesses, my weak spots, and allow myself to be more vulnerable, allow myself to accept more. I think that's what this life for me has been about. It's like people are just reflections of your own mind, what's going on in your own world. And if you can set a standard for your own world and how you want that world to be, then everything else that's happening there is, you're just not going to lock in on that. You're going to still be focused on your mission. It's like almost like if you're in a car and like as you're driving on down the road, down the highway or something like that, and you're seeing all these different views, but then nothing matters to you aside from that one particular view that's in your mind. Like, you're going to reach that destination that's in your mind. And like, that's kind of how it is when you really have self-confidence. It's like, it does not matter what you're viewing on the outside. It doesn't matter what the views look like on the outside. I know that I'm going to reach that one view that I keep having in my head, because that is when you really lock in. It's like when you really set the standards for yourself, like you don't accept anything less. And so further and further, all these experiences are supposed to help you fine-tune and get decisive on the one thing really that you deserve, the one feeling, the one experience that you deserve, which is to be completely, humanly, divinely limitless. That is what I believe. I believe that the fog goes away the more humanly yourself you are. And that also includes being okay with showing your vulnerability. That's also about showing the fact that, you're not flawed, you're not perfect, you have flaws. you're navigating life as well. You're learning through life. You're not, you are always just continuously improving, continuously being better and better every time. And it's like we need to be able to give ourselves more grace in that regard. That's what I feel. And I think now I'm learning that, to be honest, there's nothing more to life more than self-development. And as you're self-developing, you understand the term self as a collective, not as an individual. You need to start understanding that you equals we, you equals I, you equals us. That's what the self actually means. When you really start looking beyond at what it means to be you, you start to see that you is not one singular thing or identity. It is actually a collective. Because what runs through your blood is what runs through everyone else's blood. Through the blood of the earth, the blood of the universe, the blood of the all. Because that's where we all come from, the source. Therefore, the source's blood is within. And thus without. It's all intertwined, if you understand what I'm saying. So, what I'm basically trying to explain to you is that stop expecting human beings to be. Stop trying to control other human beings. In other words, is what I'm trying to say. Stop trying to control human beings to fit the mold that you want them to fit into. Just become the standard that you want them to meet. And then if they do not meet that, that is not still your problem. You simply continue vibrating in your energy, and eventually you will naturally find that your waves will just move upwards and everything else around you will just no longer be in your field. That's really how it works. Those that are able to merge with you and meet you through this spiral of growth, they will be there and continue to stick through it. But those that are no longer in alignment, the energies are just too fragmented. They're too distant. Once that happens, things fall apart. And that is also fine. It's nothing to judge another person for. It's not just because your energetic codes are changing, your own vibration is changing, does not mean that other people need to follow you on this journey. It does not mean that you need to be critical of other people who have not met you where you are. It does not mean that your life is supposedly more in tune. It doesn't mean any of that. It simply means that the wave you are on is just not the wave they're on. Either way, we are all one. So it's nothing that you need to take personally. Allow people to grow at their own pace, and you focus on your growth. You focus on how you are growing, and then naturally those that vibrate with you on that wave, they will meet you there. If you exist, there are probably others like you. That's what I believe. There is no one person that is well, in some ways, we're not that unique, is basically what I'm saying. It's like you are unique as an individual, but then if you are here, then there are others like you because of reproduction. So anyway, what I'm saying is what I've noticed in my own life now, and I want to give myself this grace and I want to give myself this acceptance, is that the most freeing thing that one can really do, the most freeing thing that you can do every single day of your life is be completely, utterly yourself without holding yourself back, without being critical of yourself, without judging other people, without trying to control other people, without trying to make other people feel more or less than you. It's about being able to see yourself as every single person and being able to treat every single person as the queen or king or whoever they are, the highest of the highest. It's about being able to understand that you individually reflect the collective, and the collective reflects you as an individual. And it is therefore your job as an individual, collective person, if you understand what I'm saying, it's your job to allow yourself to express yourself. That's how you free yourself, and therefore you free other people from the shackles of limitations, of discontent, of depression, of anger. All these emotions stem from a place where there is mental stagnation, where your heart is blocked. When someone's heart is blocked, they cannot flow. They can't possibly be open. They can't possibly outpour. They can't possibly give what they don't have. They can't possibly have love within their soul to give out and spread. The block that needs to be released is the block that we're always working through. We're always working through it. In other words, the goal of life is to release the blockages, release the limitations, release everything that is no longer in your way, no longer serving you, no longer in your actual highest desire. Everything that is blocking you from your highest expression of yourself should be completely dismantled simply by your own allowing, your own growth, your own flow, your own connection to your own source. When you do those things, starting to peel out the layer, starting to release yourself from all these limitations, all these blocks, all these I should be, all this I didn't do, all these things I want, I need. When you start releasing all these desires from your being, you start to purify your soul. And when you start purifying your soul, you start to understand that actually there's nothing that you actually require to be yourself, because you are already this grand being who has created all of this in the first place. So therefore there is no need for you to actually need anything, because you are already whole and complete. Every single day we're trying to search for a single path. We're trying to find our way. We're trying to figure out who are we actually, what are we supposed to do here, who are we meant to be. Well, actually the reality is that this is all a game. This is all a sham, an entire show, a shit show, that from the beginning of this whole reality, the way things actually had happened was that you came here complete and you knew that you were complete, but over time you have been made to think that that is actually not the case. So now it's your turn to return back to how you actually are. And that is basically why we're always so inspired when we see people being themselves, because you recognize yourself in them, because you know that that's actually who you're meant to be. A star. You do not recognize what you are not. So let that be a clear sign to you now that there is nothing that life demands from you aside from you being yourself, without any limitations, self-imposed limitations. It's about actually showing your true nature, your true character, your true expression in the world. That is what we call greatness, limitlessness, being able to be fully yourself, completely and wholly, nothing holding you back at all. When you have nothing to hold back, you become completely aligned. You become completely aligned. Do you know why? Because the river can flow. There are no rocks in the way. It's a complete clear path. And once the path is completely clear, your chakras are open. Once your chakras are open, you can receive more guides. You free yourself completely and you merge with the one. That's how it is. You understand it. You start to see it. You start to perceive it. You start to be it. You start to listen. You start to become a different person entirely. One that was always there. You just start to merge. That's basically all you're doing. I need you to be completely yourself. Because to be completely yourself is the most beautiful thing that you can be. You keep feeling like being yourself is shit, like being yourself is stupid, like being yourself is foolish or something, or it's not as grand, or it's not as beautiful as this new identity or this identity you're currently playing out. You think that being yourself is less than who you really are, when in fact you are way more grand as a being yourself, versus this character you've created that you keep having to stay within the guidelines of. Isn't that so much work for you? Isn't that such a draining thing to do? To always be someone else or do something different? It's not you. It doesn't reflect the grand nature of your being. And that's why when you see people really being themselves, really expressing themselves, you love them. You admire them. Some of you fall on your knees for them. Simply because they have nothing to hold back, because they know that when they do not hold back, they can be actually limitless, and that limitless nature that they uphold is their actual nature, is their true self. And that is what we like. We like people that embody limitlessness, people that can do whatever, people that are, they can do anything. And you can only do anything by realizing that you are already everything, because the everything can do anything. Do you understand what I'm saying? There is nothing that you actually have to be aside from detach from this personality that you've curated over the years and actually align with your actual source, which is full of pure magnificence, intelligence, success, joy, love. There is nothing else that you have to do aside from really align with your highest nature. That's all you have to do. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else is required of you to be happy. There's nothing else actually at this point in my life that makes me happier than being myself. Nothing in this life makes me more happy than me being completely, utterly myself. Because I do not care. I do not care about how I'm being perceived. I do not care about criticism. I do not care about what you think of me, because I am whole in myself. And because I know that, I can be that. And because I can be that, I can continue being that. So that's my belief. That's how I live my life. I don't really live my life for anybody but myself. And so long as I'm happy in my own skin, in my own body, that's all that matters. Because then I know that I have allowed myself to be. Anytime there is a split, you are not going to be happy. So long as you can merge yourself with yourself completely and be yourself utterly, then you will be happy. Please remember that. That's why it's so important for you to align with your higher self, who is not actually separate from you. It's simply just the you that has been with you throughout your whole life, that you haven't given the chance to come out because you want the blocks, you believe the blocks, the limitations, the things you have to do or be, all the things you've heard about that you have to kind of meet the standard for, all those things of what the world demands of you. That is the problem. That is what you are being in the way of. Like you are basically being in your own way with all these limits, and therefore your higher self can't come through. Your higher self is simply the person who you already were before you started developing this identity and this personality and these views of the world. Once you start releasing them again and undoing what has been done, then you will actually be happier. You will be happier because you will allow yourself to be, and you will allow yourself to grow, and you will allow yourself to experience, and you will allow yourself to be the very best that you can be at every single point in time, in every way and shape and form. So remember, once there is a split, you cannot be happy. You have to be in total flow with yourself. So you have to do what you love to do. You have to stop hiding. You have to stop being critical of yourself. You have to stop criticizing other people. You have to stop putting yourself up to such a standard whereby you do not make mistakes, whereby you don't say shit sometimes, whereby you are this god. You have to stop it, and you have to allow yourself to simply be in line with the righteousness that you feel you in your body. You know within your spirit what is right to do. So the more you do not follow that, the more you're allowing this split to create this disorientation, this sadness, this anger, this frustration. It all happens from you. Nobody is actually frustrating you. You are frustrating yourself. That is the truth. You frustrate yourself because there is a split and you're not allowing yourself to be in line with the lesson that is being shown to you. You're not giving yourself compassion. You're not giving yourself grace. When I say yourself, I'm referring to we, us. Okay? I'm not referring to you as a singular identity. I'm referring to your identity as a whole. Be united with yourself, your passions, things you love, people you love, activities you love. Allow yourself to be human. And when you allow yourself to be human, you actually allow yourself to grow, because then you can see things that you didn't see before, and you are allowing yourself to see those things. You're giving yourself grace. You're not putting such a high pedestal on how you are supposed to be. You're not having to create a drama and practice a drama. You are simply being yourself, and that is enough. That's all I have to say regarding this topic. And I hope that this makes sense to you, because I, for the longest period of time, have just not felt comfortable in my own body, in my own skin, with my own tone, voice, accent. There's just so many things that I've had to kind of accept. So many things that I've had to accept in myself. And it's really that acceptance that has allowed me to come on here and even start being open and speaking and sharing what I have to even say. And I don't care, because to me, the most liberating thing that I would like is that when I'm gone from this earth, at least I know that I've lived my life as me. At least I know that I've given myself grace to really explore myself and express myself. I don't want to leave this world having felt like I didn't live up to who I really was, and I didn't unlock the potential that I really, really had within myself. So this journey is not about anyone but myself at the end of the day. And through my being, I allow myself to see myself in others. You can only love others more when you love yourself more. You can only be more open when you are open within. You can only be a better version of yourself when you also allow other people to be better versions of themselves. You have to create a safe space in your own heart so that other people can also feel like they can also approach you and be a safe space. Any restriction that you have in your system needs to go. Because then you create the environment for that safe space to exist. So that's all I have to say about this. Focus on making yourself the safest place that you can be in, so that you free yourself, and in turn others are free too. They feel safe in your space. Understand that what you are projecting into the world is the environment that you are creating for other people. If I sit next to you today and these are the things that I'm saying, imagine like I'm right here, even though I am right here, right? Like I'm right next to you right now. Imagine I'm sitting down on the bed next to you and I'm talking to you like this. What kind of environment am I creating? Isn't this a safe space for you to be in? Isn't this safe enough? Isn't this real enough? If I came here with some hesitations and some doubts, and I'm talking like I don't actually care about you, then you would not feel safe enough to hear me. But I believe you can see that I actually care. It's really important that you allow yourself to be who you are. And I can't express this enough. And there's so many versions of you, and I want you to accept them all. I want you to accept who you are. I want you to accept yourself in all your different ways, in all your different lights, in all your different shadows. There's so many parts of you that you can integrate so that you can continuously evolve in a very, very safe way. Do you know?
I don't know then. That's all I have to say about this topic.